real spiel. How you doing this morning? Just heading into the gig. Decided to take transit this morning. So you're gonna catch me on my little stroll into the office. I got time. You guys come on down. Come on down, come on in. My question today was, where was the man? Speaking of Queen Man. Queen Man was murdered by her 10-year-old son. Good morning, Yvonne, good morning. Where was the man? Speaking of Queen Man, I believe they called her Kiki Man. She was murdered in Wisconsin, black woman, young black woman, murdered by her 10-year-old son, who clearly is disturbed because she wouldn't buy him a VR, virtual reality, I believe either headset or controller. And the little boy in the basement of their house got his mother's gun and shot her in the head. And I broke down the story on a quick video, but I wanted to discuss it on a live as I walked into work. I don't know if many of you know the story, but I got acquainted with it personally by someone who knew her personally. So this is not outside information. Good morning, Grand Rising. Good morning to everybody. Talking about Queen Man. I hope I don't missay her name. Apparently they used to call her Kiki, but her name's spelled with a Q. Kiki Man. Good mother, apparently, singer, and a no-nonsense mom. She had 4 children, 3 from one man, and this young fellow came from a relationship that didn't go so well. Hello. So let me just break down how this situation was told to me. Apparently, Kawina got into a relationship with a brother who was in church. Clearly, he was a singer, and he's a pastor now. He wasn't a pastor at the time, and he was basically seeing 2 women at the same time. And so he was sleeping with both of them, and he got Kiki Man, Miss Man, pregnant, and then he hurried up and went and married the other girl. So basically he went and started a life with the other girl, started a family, got married to her, and basically left Kiki raising his child on her own. And so this young boy, he had a few issues, apparently. He had some types of issues, and we see that he has major issues. And he shot his mother, who essentially had no other paternal oversight over this little boy. Too much construction that way. I'm not going all the way, fighting all this construction. We're in a city that has so much construction, you never know when anything is open. So this little boy now grabs a gun and shoots his mother in the head. Like, apparently he still doesn't even understand that his mom is not coming back. And this is the craziest part for me. 10-year-old boy, they put him in juvenile court before a judge, and they're looking to charge him as an adult. At first I heard they thought it was an accident, but then the boy started telling the story to the relatives, probably to the siblings. And they realized this wasn't an accident at all. Tasha, good to see you. And realized this is not an accident at all. And then he was formally charged. But look what they're looking to do to this little kid, right? And I know I don't want to make this a race issue, as everything sometimes is, but when you have people that have they've got obvious health issues, mental health issues, it's very easy for these courts to see mental health issues in other people, other ethnicities. But a little 10-year-old black kid who shoots his mother in the head, you want to charge him as an adult. You know there's something going on with that kid. Like this, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Apparently this little boy, he has imaginary friends who talk to him all the time. He hears the voices. This is a well-known thing about him. And these courts, before they do a psychological assessment, they make up their mind that they're going to charge him as an adult. You know, like he's going to have to grow up with the trauma of killing his mother. That's enough. Like that's more than enough. The father was there in respect to the virtual bail hearing. He didn't say anything. Apparently he's gotten involved now. People have put pressure on him a little bit. That's what I've been told. I don't know if any of this is 100, but this is what I was told. People put pressure on him to get involved now because, you know, it's his son. Apparently he wasn't that involved before, but it must be an incredible thing. Like it must be an incredible thing to have to know that you brought a kid into the world who at 10 years old shoots his own mother as a father. Like it must be an incredible thing. Nope. They didn't do a psych evaluation on him. No psych evaluation. They just decided they're going to charge him as an adult, a 10-year-old boy. Right? They're going to charge him as an adult. So, America, bro. North America, just the way that we are regarded. And this is another thing, like, how do other cultures look at us with stories like this? And I know some of us don't care, but like, this is the stuff that emboldens other communities to reduce us to some level of animal in their mind. It's like, look at their children. Their children go ahead killing their parents. They have no control. And you know, and it creates this demonization of us because these stories from our community become news fast, right? Where they try to be discreet with other people who have done it, other communities who have done it. They try to be as discreet as possible, but these stories become news fast. And in this climate, in this current climate of what's taking place now with the black community and the Jewish community, you know, it really demonstrates to a lot of other communities, in their mind, probably the dangers of our community, right? But to me, it shows the power of any organization that can organize men and have men become responsible. That's why I like talking about the Hebrew Israelites, right? Even though I'm not a Hebrew Israelite, any organization that can organize black men, make black men family-oriented, family-minded, who can put black men in a position where they're working together, where they're advocating for God. Any organization that can do that, let me tell you something. They should be applauded. They should be applauded. And we know, anybody who's been alive for a little while knows. Come on, dog. I eat dogs like you, man. I'll eat you, baby. I'll put you in a sandwich. Don't bark at me. White poodle. The audacity of a white poodle to bark at me. I'll curry chicken that. I'll curry that dog. Come on. The mindset for me is I'm looking to see if I can be a rallying cry for any organization or mindset to put black men and black women back in the mindset of a nuclear family. I was speaking to the same person who told me this information yesterday, and I was giving her a breakdown of who she was as a woman. And I told her, I said, you're a good person, come from a good family, you'd be loyal, but you have one thing that will get you in trouble with that future whoever that you want to be in your life, that you got a lot of talk back in you. I said that to her, right? You got a lot of talk back in you, man. That's, a lot of brothers are not going to sit for that. And she was like, well, I think it's just a weakness in men, especially black men, who don't want a woman who's going to speak up for herself. And, she went into that. And I said, that's not the point. And this is my point. I think that young ladies from prior generations were trained to be wives because this is what I said to her. I said, you are more focused on the information than the attitude. I said, men hear the attitude before they hear the information. And this concept of the strong independence, the strong black woman, all these kind of concepts that the liberal and feminist movement has tried to shove down the throats of black women have broken. All they've done has been consistent in building a black woman who is not interested in black family and building a black man who is not interested in being in relationships with black women. That's all it's done. And it's created this incredible environment that we have now, incredible environment where it has become commonplace for a man to have no family regard. It's become commonplace for women to be very quick to exit their relationships and not realize, that nuclear family is life, is its legacy. And it's put us in a position where these stories become very prevalent in our society. They're very, very prevalent in our society. And it's a shame. And it all comes back to things I keep talking about. The nuclear family, man. If the family structure of our community is not strong, forget about all the other stuff we keep talking about. Forget about all the other stuff, all the financial things and financial literacy and ancestry and all these other things. Doesn't matter if you know where you come from, but you don't know how to take care of who comes from you. And if you're a Bible person, it says that a man who doesn't take care of his own is worse than an infidel. It's worse than an unbeliever. That means that even God in the pantheon of Judeo-Christian reality says family first. Because when family doesn't come first, our sons and our women and our daughters fall by the wayside. All right, this guy made a decision that he cannot escape. He got a woman pregnant, left her, married somebody else, left this little boy to be unmanaged. This little boy decided arbitrarily to kill his own mother. It's crazy, bro. And it's, you know what? I'm gonna say this to you too. It can happen to any of you. Any of you. It's not even a story that's out of the box of the black family conversation in North America. We have made entire culture, black and white, Latino, Asian, we have recreated a very aggressive generation of children. Whether it's by aggressive music, whether it's by aggressive video games, whether it's by aggressive movies, whether it's by just a culture in itself that has become more aggressive, we have created a new version of us that is extremely aggressive. And these kids, you can't manage these kids. And I'm telling mothers especially, and I'm talking about if you have daughters or if you have sons. You moms, you're going to be ill-equipped to manage these kids by yourself. I'm telling you straight. Yeah, good morning, brother. you're going to be ill-equipped to manage these kids by yourself. And I've seen it. I've seen it with my own daughters, who their mom can't control them. I've seen it with my own kids, daughters. Forget about the sons. I got some sons too. All right, I've got 3 sons, 3 daughters, for those who don't know. And I'll tell you right now, I give birth to lions. Whether it's a male lion or a female lion, it's a lion. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, if I pulled away my involvement from all of my children, they would be some little, as they say, some little bad breed youth then. Very aggressive kids they'd be. And so we need to realize that Queen Man situation, we created that in our own communities. We absolutely created that in our own communities. And we're gonna have to revisit our family structures. We're gonna have to revisit what we desire to be as family structures. One of the hardest conversations to have. Okay, I got a little bit of time for y'all today. What happens when we have men, when men have women or children from different women? What happens to that family group? It's very interesting. When I went to Ireland, and Ireland's black community is mostly, at the time it was mostly African, right? And the African dudes were marrying or getting little Irish girls pregnant. So there was one Irish lady who was a friend of a friend, and she had 2 kids for this brother. He was a really popular club promoter in Ireland. And this young lady, she had 2 kids for him, but then they'd broken up, right? Because he wasn't treating her right, she wasn't interested anymore, or whatever, but they had 2 young children. Every African man, like every single one of them, they're Nigerian mostly. And this guy, he's out living his life, he's dating other women, considered that woman his wife. They were never married. She was an untouchable. She was an untouchable. From the perspective of the African community, that white lady who had kids for this African man, she was an untouchable. Nobody would date her. Nobody would go anywhere near her, because it was like, that's that man's wife. She didn't understand the culture, so she was baffled. She's trying to date other people. They're like, you're so-and-so's wife. She literally had to leave Ireland, move to Texas, in order to even date again. She could not date in her country if you wanted to date black men. Because the mindset that community had is that even though you might not be nuclearly together, you are part of his family. Now, let's go down to the Caribbean. That mindset doesn't exist in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, and we know that in South America, North America, it's very commonplace for people to have children from multiple men, and for multiple men to go after women who already have children for people they know, people who they're friends with, people who they're families with, right? And it's very prevalent for men to say, just because you had a baby for me doesn't mean I want to be in your life. Go find somebody to take care of that. Go find somebody to be in your life. It's very prevalent for women to have a child for a man and say, just because I had a baby for you don't mean I want to be with you. Just because we had a family together doesn't mean I don't want to tear it apart because I'm not happy right now, and go find somebody else to go have a child with, or go find somebody else to raise this child with me. And we create these toxic family structures that are outrageous. Like, we create rage in men. We create sending you blessings. Thank you from Florida. Thank you, Florida. Stargirl 69. Ms. Coco B, accountability on both sides is all I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking about.
Thank you.
We create these families, these family structures
that, you know, everybody's angry. You know, the ex-man is still angry at his ex, hates her, tells the children, I hate your mother, I don't like her, I don't ever want to talk to her again, she's a this and a that. Mothers who are telling their sons, your father's useless, he's worthless, he's this and he's that. Right? Creating angry sons who say, oh, your father never did nothing for you, which is sometimes a lie. Sometimes you just kept him away from the boy. And we're raising angry men. We're raising young girls with daddy issues and with self-confidence, low self-esteem issues. And we have to take full responsibility of the transformation of the family unit from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s to what's taking place. And I would start it in the 70s, late 60s and 70s, the free love generation, and this nonsense, these types of non-responsibility sexual cultures that have come around since the 70s, where we have people that simply have incredible libidos with no accountability. Ooh, Lord, man, come on. How many now, right? How many now? It's just what people do, Yvonne. Let's say it like a Jamaican. They skin up their nose at God's order. How many guys now, right, have adopted this reckless conversation, right? And I'm gonna say it very clearly. They've adopted a reckless conversation about being poly, right? And it's because the word is not polygamy anymore. They're not using that word. They're using polyamory, right? And polyamory. This is the difference between polygamy and polyamory. Polyamory is usually men and women. Some women have adopted it, of having multiple partners, but very limited to almost no accountability or responsibility. All right, you want multiple partners. Now, back in the day, a brother who wanted multiple wives, guess what he had to do? He had to be able to afford them. You have to be able to put them all in a home or a tent. You have to be able to take care of all those kids. So brothers want to be poly today. They want to be polyamorous, right? They don't want to be pinned down to one woman. They want to be poly. They want multiple women to accept the fact that they're not going to be with them. But they do not want to have multiple or poly accountability. And we have women on that side too that are so-called poly. They don't want the sexual responsibility. You see, those toxic behaviors that have plagued the descendants of post-traumatic slave disorders, not fixed our mental health problems since our 250-year bondage. Yep, it's true. And we have women on this level too. And you know why women, from my experience, ladies, and I can't speak on behalf of all women, but why the women that I have seen have decided to adopt poly lifestyles or accept that, is because they have been so emotionally let down by men that they don't want to put themselves in an emotional vulnerability, so that they think that this man is going to be with them or take care of them forever. So they just basically, they separate the immediacy of the intimacy. They separate that from an emotional connection, because they feel, and most women have told me, that what hurts most is when someone cheats on them or breaks their trust, is the emotional connection that they built. That's what hurts more than somebody simply sharing their body. That's why women say things to men like, I wish you would have just told me. And because guys are trying to hide the act, right? But women are saying, well, the act is bad, but the emotional connection that we had, that you broke, it's worse. And so women become poly because that emotional baggage hurts. And so they've allowed themselves to be free of the emotional baggage and to basically appreciate the physical rewards. right? Men, same thing. They don't want the responsibility of having to take care of a woman, having to, take her to the hospital and take care of her when she's sick, and worry about her old age, and worry about her dental plans. They don't do that. So they have come up with this poly life where basically you have privilege without responsibility, without accountability. And what is it creating? Like, honestly, forget about, let's just take disease off the table. Let's say that you cannot even contract any diseases sexually. Let's take that whole part off the table, which we know is enormous, but let's take that off the table. What are you creating when you're creating these hybridized families where you have people who are I'll call them plural poly? So you have a man who's with 3 women, and those 3 women are with 2 or 3 other men, and you have these plural poly relationships where this woman has now had a child for somebody else, and it's the factoring of it is too much. It's too much to consider, and the reason I think a lot of you young men who are going through this, and even if older men are going through this, is because you've never experienced the true responsibility of having to consult and advise a human being who comes from you for the rest of their lives. I am still my adult children I'm talking about. I am still their major resource for advice, for worldview. I'm their lawyer, I'm their agent, I'm their headhunter, their job recruiter, right? I discern things in respect to what they're going to do in their marriages and in their finances. That's still my role as their father, because they're going to say, Dad has done it before us. Let's go seek him out. But what if they don't have that relationship, like I didn't, right? I was left in an unfortunate scenario where my mother was a teenager. Right? I quickly had as much information as she did. By the time I was 11, 12 years old, I was a little brilliant kid who basically knew just as much as my mother did about life. I'm not joking, it's true. When it came time for college recruiters and the major life decisions to come in, she really couldn't help. I had to figure all this stuff out by myself. I said, I'm not going to make my kids have to do that. I made major mistakes because I did not have great counselors around me. Major life issues, because most of these kids are making life decisions between the age of 16 and 22. Yes, even my dad is a father to my husband. We seek his wisdom. Yeah, exactly. And many of us men, especially men who grew up without a father around, we crave that, right? We look for men who are man enough for us to adopt a maternal role. And going back to this little 10-year-old boy, this is what he lacked. He lacked the restraint of having a father in the house, so that his emotions would not draw him to the place where he went and found a gun and shot his mother in the head. 10 years old. 10 years old. And now what has happened to him? We leave him as a community, just like we left Brittany Griner in Russia for too long. We leave him in the hands of the Wisconsin court system that is going to say, no, he's 10 years old, he shot his mother, he's an adult. There's nothing adult about this little boy. How can a 10-year-old boy be considered an adult criminally? It's ridiculous. He could not conceptualize the criminality of his act. And it is clear by the families and the friends telling me he has mental health issues. So I don't understand how the courts could even form their mouth to say that this little boy should be treated as an adult. I don't know how they could even form their mouth to say it. I can imagine what's taking place with that family. I really couldn't imagine. The 3 older siblings, I guess that relationship is irreparable. I don't know. I hope it's not, because that little boy is going to need his family more than ever before. I can imagine the father who has children with another woman, if that woman's thinking, if he thinks he's going to bring that little boy in this house, imagine that other woman thinking, well, he can be involved all he wants, but that kid's not coming around my kids, right? I'm sure that's something that's going through her head. So I just wanted to break that down. I just wanted to talk about that. You know, we need a new conversation in respect to the family. We need a brand new conversation because, you know, it's going to happen. We're gonna meet people. We're gonna have children with people. And the question is, how does the family structure? How is that family structure preserved? And we need to have the conversation because other communities are looking at us like we're savages. That's what they're doing. They're looking at us like we can't do anything right. And as one of the subscribers said, are we still suffering from a post-slave mentality? Are we still dealing with PTSD of the brokenness from the Middle Passage to today, of the brokenness of slave culture, of the brokenness of the insidious move of affirmative action, and I'm pro affirmative action, but a part of affirmative action in America and happening in Canada was to make sure that black women didn't require black men in the household, right? To make sure they do things here where they do subsidized housing here, right? Listen to this, you know what it is, but they subsidize housing here. They have all female subsidized housing, so you can have women who have children. But the qualifications for them to be in the house is you can't have a man in the house. You can't have a man living in that apartment. If you have a man living in an apartment, you can't get the subsidy. So you have two lower income people, male and female, who now realize that in order to get housing, I have to pretend that we are not a couple. That affects you mentally. I have to be here like I'm a visitor. The woman knows I can kick you out anytime because you're not really supposed to be here. So how are you the man of that house? How are you as a man? How is your self-esteem when you know that the only reason you have a home over your head is because your woman has said, I don't have no man. I don't know where the father is. I don't know. I'm alone. When your entire existence is based on a lie. Those types of social systems are created for us, so that the nuclear family for us is destroyed. The attitude, the mentality of it is destroyed. And what else do you have in there? When you have a whole housing project of single women, the one or two or three or four men who do come through there, he's got a smorgasbord, he's got a buffet of women to choose from who are looking for him. So it becomes rampant with distrust, infidelity. It becomes a playground of relationship confusion. So that was start of black men being out of the home. Besides slavery, the system did not allow him to be there. The second that you need assistance from the government says, we will assist you as long as you disenfranchise yourself from black men. That's crazy. The government doesn't say, we will assist you as a family. Come to us as a family. Oh, your husband isn't working, and the father of your child is not working at this time. We will support you. That's not what they said. They said, women will support you. You men, fend for yourself. So you break up the family structure. You create no support systems like the children of that relationship. You think they don't need their father in the home? And why is that simply targeted at racialized populations? It's incredible. And then they call it affirmative action? Oh, man. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. It's 100 people here. And I thank you very much every morning for coming and listening to me have my little breakfast conversations with you. It's a great weekend. I'm looking forward to speaking with this young lady tonight and having our debate, the Malcolm versus Martin Luther King debate. The movie Claudine, I'll take a look at that. But please continue to support the channel. Listen, I have 100,000 views simply of just about of this channel. I get 100,000 views a day, but only 17% of them subscribe. If you're one of the people who are here and you're not a subscriber, I'm going to invite you to subscribe and invite you to be part of the family. If you want to join, please follow my socials. It says, click on the link, follow my socials, become a member. Earth members, great supporters, Wind members, we can post your businesses, we can talk about you, shout outs, Fire members, part of the movement. You get inside tracks into what's happening with the movement, and we do have some great information coming. And the Spirit members get all of the above, plus they get specific instruction manuals in order to teach some of the history and ancestry things that we teach. All right. Kenya Thomas, why did you retract your statement, girl? You can say anything you want in here. I don't stop folks from saying it. When is the debate? The debate's supposed to be tonight. I'm trying to do it for 7 o'clock, 7 to 7:30. I'll post it as soon as I get confirmation. And we're going to have that debate. This young lady is fantastic. She's a brilliant person. She's going to be coming from the Martin Luther King perspective of activism. I'm going to be coming from the Malcolm perspective of activism. And so, love everybody. We thank you very much. This madness, it's our responsibility to demand accountability inside and out. Actually, absolutely. Yes, thank you. Myra D. Price, good to see you this morning. And everybody who's here, God bless you. Good to see everybody this morning. And yes, we are suffering from PTSD. And I think we should create our own. We should buy land, create Black Wall Street 2.0 has to happen. But this is my position. Black Wall Street for America needs to be a multi-state organization, a multi-state organized thing, right? The state of Texas, state of Florida, bam, bam. And we'll take California too. Don't just try to build one little town. We need to take states. We need to take entire states and say, this state, the state of Texas is big enough for 44 million people, top to bottom, and we'll take Florida too. And we should have the capacity. And you can take the state of Georgia too, because a lot of y'all are there. Take Georgia, Florida, and Texas. You know, low cost of living, good climate, and land can be bought by the busload. We can buy land very easily there. We walk into places like that, corner the market on the real estate, corner the market on all of the distribution channels, and go to town and build a community there, a state community. Okay, so bless you guys. Until we meet again, this is Del K. Burton, this is The Real Spiel, and I'm out.